The economic impact of this, of course, will be a heavy blow. But it's not a blow we can't recover from. And how do I know that? Because last year when we faced the same heavy blow, we turned it around and got 1 million people back into work. So we know how to see our economy recover. I remember at the time I was criticised for saying that the economy will come back strongly. Well, the economy did come back strongly. We put the supports in place to enable that, and it worked, and it'll work again. Once we come through these lockdowns, then whether it's in New South Wales, South Australia, Victoria, those economies will return to growth. People will go back to work. People will go back and buy things in the shops. The sites will open again, and the economy will come back to life very, very quickly. That said, the supply chain disruption, the impacts on confidence, the fall in job ads, which is to be expected in these circumstances, we anticipate will have an impact on, obviously, the September quarter GDP and will have a near-term impact on employment. It is impossible to avoid it when you've got lockdowns running at the rate we're seeing across 3 states right now. And so we do anticipate that. I spoke to the Governor of the Reserve Bank only this week and the Deputy Governor with the Treasurer, and they share an outlook as we do, and that is while these impacts of the lockdowns will be here in this quarter, in the quarter that follows, should we continue to be on the path we're on in increasing our resilience, then we can expect that to turn around in the December quarter. Finally, I want to make a number of points about payments. The $600 and $375 payments that are available to individuals. These payments are the same level of payment that was being provided in the December quarter last year of JobKeeper, exactly the same. The only difference is they're being paid by the government direct, not through your employer. And the design of these payments is designed to support the lockdowns in encouraging people to be able to stay at home where they have to be at home as a result of these lockdowns. They're there to support that health initiative. When you go through a pandemic or in any sort of policy challenge, you don't address last year's challenges, you address today's challenges. And today's challenge with these lockdowns is very different to what the Treasurer and I and the government were confronted with last March and April when we put JobKeeper in place. That was a national scheme that it went to across all businesses in Australia, and it was designed with the prospect of having Australia in that situation for at least 6 months, which indeed it was in. And it needed the scale of that type of initiative to be able to deliver that support. We need to be able to turn this on and turn this off quite quickly. And with the method that we've chosen, we are able to do just that. To give you an indication, what we are experiencing currently today is some 70,000 claims per day. We saw $32 million paid out in support in the last 24 hours alone. In New South Wales, we have already provided 452,395 grants of support. $219 million is already out the door. So this support is coming swiftly, and it is being done principally through the online distribution of Service Australia, where I thank Australians that some 93% of claims are being handled online. We're seeing payments made, as some of your own colleagues has observed, within 40 minutes of that claim being undertaken, or indeed being paid the next day. We've put in place a system of payments that is designed to be swift. Now let me run through how that's running in each of the states, because it's now exactly the same in all states. In all states, people that are affected by the lockdowns, where there's a Commonwealth hotspot definition put in place, the payments are being provided statewide through the partnership that I've been able to put in place with each of the state premiers, most recently last night with Premier Marshall. So it's the same right across all the states of the states affected by lockdowns. The payments, as you know, are $600 for 20 hours lost in the period of the previous week, and $375 if it's less than 20 hours and more than 8 or a day's week, a full day of work lost in the course of that week. You make your claim at the end of the week based on what happened during that week. The payments are then made in arrears, and importantly now, when you're registering for these new payments, and so that was from last Friday for those first who went onto those payments in Sydney, and Sunday for the rest of the state, And now those who will be making them on the 23rd in Victoria and the 28th in South Australia, those payments will be recurring. So you don't need to go in and reclaim every single week. If you're registered for the payment, then you're registered for it to recur each week. Now, we ask you to keep us up to date with any changes in your circumstances. You may be in a position where you no longer need those payments and you've got hours back. Equally, you may be in a position where previously you were losing less than 20 hours a week, but now you're losing more than 20 hours a week. You can go online, you can update your application for that payment, and it is recurring. We're doing this because we want people who are experiencing these lockdowns and suffering these economic losses to know that each week those payments are going to turn up in your bank account and you can count on it. You don't have to apply again. You don't have to worry about it. There's plenty of other things I know you have to worry about. I don't want you to have to worry about that. So those payments will keep turning up. Every week the lockdowns continue to roll.